Shalom to all. Today's daf is Nedarim daf Nun Gimel. We are starting at the top of the daf with a brand new Mishnah. And today's daf is sponsored Lilu Nishmas Mars Miriam Zara Bas Yaakov Maisha Her Neshama should have an Aliyah. And Lilu Nishmas Mars Rivka Bas of Meir Zev Her Neshama should have an Aliyah. And the Mishnah tells us Hanodim and Tamarim. Some of them made a neder, they're not going to eat dates. Motor B'dvash Tamarim, they're allowed to eat date honey. Mrs. Vanios, a person made a neder, they're not going to eat Sisvanios. What are Sisvanios? They're winter grapes. They're grapes that don't ripen properly and they just stay in the vine even in the winter and they're not eaten by themselves. Really, they're made into vinegar. So the Mishnah says if a person made a neder, they're not going to eat Sisvanios. Motor B'chaimet Sisvanios, they are allowed to eat this vinegar made from it. Now, Rabbi he says, Kol Shashem Taldasai Kuruya Alav, anything that its talda is called by it, the neder hemenu, and he made a neder from it, Asr b'yotze hemenu, it's asr for him to benefit from that which comes from it. L'cham matirim l'cham malao. So let's say in this case of chaymetz sisvanios, the talda of the sisvanios, that which comes from it, which is the chaymetz, which is the vinegar, is called chaymetz sisvanios. The talda has the same name of the original product itself. It's called winter grape vinegar. So therefore, if he asrs himself from winter grapes, he's also not allowed to have the vinegar. However, the chum allow it. And now the Gemara asks, Chacham hainu Tanakama. It seems like the Chamim is a Tanakama. The Tanakama had already said that if a person says he's not going to have sisvanios, he's allowed to have chaymetz sisvanios, and it seems to be that the Chacham are saying the same thing. So what's the difference between the Chacham and the Tanakama? So the Gemara answers, the difference is what the following brisa says, Klal zeh amar Reb Shimon Elazar, the following Klal Reb Shimon Elazar said, Kol shedarka lechol v'derech hayotze menu lechol, anything which it is normal to eat, and also something that comes from it is normal to eat. Kigain, for example, tamarim, udvash tamarim, dates and date honey. So it's normal to eat dates plain, and it's also normal to eat date honey plain as well. So another by if he made a neder, he's not going to eat the thing itself, the dates, asur b'yotze menu, he's not allowed to eat the thing that comes from it either. And neither b'yotze menu asur by, if he made a neder that he's not going to eat that which comes from it, he's also not allowed to eat the product itself. But kol she'ein darka lechol v'derech hayotze menu lechol, something which it itself is not really very normal to eat. For example, sisvanios. But what's normal is that which comes from it, the chaymetz sisvanios. So neither by ein asur el b'yotze menu. If he made a neder, he's not going to eat it. The only thing that's asur to eat is the thing that comes from it. Shlein is chavenzel liyotze menu, because the whole kavana is the thing that comes from it, which is the chaymetz that comes from the sisvanios. Now that's shittas of Shimon Elazar. So the Chamim agree with Shimon Elazar, and the Tanakama doesn't. Let's just clarify this because we have three different shittas over here. So the Tanakama is one extreme. He holds, and in both cases of the Mishnah, when a person asers the food, only the food itself is asur, but not that which comes from it. And this is not like Rav Shimon Elazar. Now, Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah, he takes the other extreme. He holds that in both of these cases, everything is asur, both the food itself and the thing that comes from it. And the Chum of our Mishnah, they're like Rav Shimon Elazar, they're a midline shita. That if it's normal to eat the thing itself and that which comes from it, so then both of them are asur. However, if it's only normal to eat the thing that comes from the fruit, for example, chaymetz sisvanios, then only that is asur, meaning only the vinegar is asur and not the thing itself. And the Mishnah continues with something similar. If a person made a neder, he's not going to drink wine, he's allowed to have apple wine. That's because apple wine is never called wine. Apple wine is always called apple wine. And when he says I'm not going to drink wine, he's not including apple wine in that because he didn't use the word apple. Furthermore, min hashemen, if he says he's not going to have oil, motor b'shemen shumshemen, he's allowed to have sesame oil. That's because standard oil is olive oil, and since he didn't mention sesame, he's allowed to have it. Min advash, if he said he's not going to have honey, motor b'dvash tamarim, he's allowed to have date honey. Min chaymetz, if he says he's not going to have vinegar, motor b'chaymetz sisvanios, he's allowed to have chaymetz sisvanios. Min akreshin, if he says he's not going to have leek, motor b'kaplutais, he's allowed to have kaplutais, which is a certain type of leek. Min yarek, if he says he's not going to have yarak, which is greens or vegetables, motor b'yarkais osada, he's allowed to have vegetables that grow wild. Now in all these cases, the reason why he's allowed to have the thing that we said he's allowed to have is because shehu shem levai, it has an additional name. As we said, apple wine isn't called plain wine, it's called apple wine. Sesame oil isn't just called plain oil, it's called sesame oil. So all these things have an additional name, and therefore they're not included in his neder. His neder was very simple. All he said was wine, honey, vegetables, vinegar, things like that. And since he didn't use this extra name, this additional name, this shem levai, so that product is mutter. Like Gemara says, Tanya, if a brayso hanodim and Hashem in Eretz Yisrael, if a person made a neder from oil in Eretz Yisrael, mutter b'shem and shumshemin, he's allowed to have sesame oil, v'asur b'shem and zayis, he's not allowed to have olive oil. But Bavel, however, if he made this neder, he's not going to have oil. In Bavel, asur b'shem and shumshemin, mutter b'shem and zayis. He's not allowed to have sesame oil, but he is allowed to have olive oil. Why is that? Well, because in Eretz Yisrael, the standard oil was olive oil and not sesame oil, so therefore he's allowed to have sesame oil, and in Bavel, it was the other way around. The standard oil was sesame oil, and the not standard oil was olive oil. So he obviously is only answering himself from that which is standard and not from the non-standard thing. The Brisa continues, if it's a place where they use both of these oils, asur b'zeh, so he's asur to have both of them. The Gemara